Hello and thank you for watching. I'm here today because people keep asking me how can they stop being angry at what's going on in the world and let it all go. The very quick answer is stop concentrating on it. Stop giving it any energy, because when you concentrate on it, when you allow yourself to feel angry about it, when you allow yourself to judge those who are what we're perceiving to be wrong, which is wrong, but we're judging those who are harming others. We are judging those who have used the power of money, the way that they have gone to the top, and they've controlled the world and created a lot of evil within their circles. So every time you talk about it with someone else and you're feeling angry about it, you are sending them the energy that they need, negative energy. So by being angry at them, you're feeding them. So what we need to do is to take responsibility for the part that we are playing in it. No one wants to hear this. I certainly, when I realised, because the master within me is always talking to me, and for weeks he's been saying to me, temptation. This is the way that you will begin to understand how those who have or are doing very evil things on the earth right now, which is, yes, it's harming other human beings. But the way that the master got me to understand it, to go, okay, so my responsibility is not to feed it, not to get angry at it, not to give them any energy at all. And the way that he explained to me that I could do that is through understanding temptation, which was I thought, temptation? And he said to me, have you ever in your life been tempted? And I said, well, of course I have. And I'm asking you the same question. Have you ever given in to temptation? The answer will be yes. No matter how small that temptation is, at some stage we would have given in to temptation. Temptation, we all know right from wrong. Okay? So temptation, in my eyes, is when we are tempted into doing the wrong thing. Yes, I can hear you saying, yeah, there's a massive difference with giving in to temptation to, say you've, saying you're trying to put a new regime into place for you, and you've told yourself, I'm going to get up 10 minutes earlier. And the first 2 days it goes okay, and the third day you put your arm out and it feels colder than the last 2 days, and you give in to the temptation to stay there. But the temptation always starts small. It always starts somewhere. So those who are doing wrong, it's like they've started off with temptation. There is always this is the way that energy builds. There will always be somebody. You look at a ringleader, we've all witnessed and been probably part of somehow in our lives, bullying in school. And there will always be somebody that wants to, that is needing love more than anything, but because they don't understand it, that they're familiar with hurt themselves, so that what they do is then hurt others. And the way that the bullies, which are those at the top, the way that they've climbed to the top is to tempt people. And this is what, when I've sat with it and I've really thought about, oh my goodness, we have all done something where we know that what we're doing is not right. All of us. Sit there, go within, be honest with yourself. And you will find that you've given in to temptation. I can still hear you thinking, yes, but temptation, there's temptation and temptation. Temptation of harm for yourself. We've all done things for probably a dare, haven't we? We've done something to fit in. And when we do something, maybe that there's a dare or somebody's dared you, you can't do that, you can't do this. We give in to that temptation. The knowing in our hearts that something's not right. When we do it once and we get away with it, we'll try it again, and then we try it again, and then we try it again. It's the same with, so temptation is food, and we think, oh, I'll just have one today. And then we think whatever we were cutting back or cutting out food for, if we feel okay the next day, we go, oh, well, that's all right, I can do this now. Kidding ourselves. All the while, the little voice within us is saying you're giving in to temptation. And it's a slippery slope. So all those who are doing great evil on earth right now, they need us to love them. And this is the way, by taking responsibility for who we are, which is a spiritual being. We are all part of the same consciousness. So by getting angry at it, we are feeding them. So then you need to take responsibility that actually you are giving them energy to continue the evils that they are doing. I know that I probably get a lot of backlash, because where I've talked this about people, they don't want to hear it, because I didn't want to hear it when the realization was there. Then when the master started to say to me, it was the same thing. Temptation is temptation. You've still done many things that are wrong. And I still give in to the temptation when somebody tells me, gosh, have you heard about this, that someone's done that? And my first reaction is to feed that anger, to feed that wrong with, oh, that's terrible, that, and you have to stop yourself and to go, wait, bring it back to temptation. So I've been going deep within myself to find a stillness, to ask myself the questions. Where have you given in to temptation? Where do you do things that you know are wrong? And boy, oh boy, it's hard. It's a hard realization when you really, really go into your shadow side, when you start to observe yourself and you start to observe where all those negative human patterns are. And it's through going within and doing the work on ourselves that each one of us that does it, we will raise the consciousness for our neighbour, which all of these sayings that are out there, love thy neighbour, I never really knew what it meant, but it's that, if we all do it, we all take responsibility for not feeding the negative, for being positive, for breaking our own negative patterns, for realising when you are giving in to temptation, then we will break the pattern by raising our consciousness bit by bit. So love thyself, love thy neighbour. As you love yourself and you break the patterns, so will those around you. So don't kid yourself into thinking that it's us and them, because those at the top, the 1% club, I call them, the 1% of human beings who are controlling a mass amount of the rest of population. The way that they have this control is to make us believe that it's us and them. So here in the United Kingdom, there's so many people that are up in arms about illegal immigration. That I've never seen any proof with my physical eyes that we are being invaded, but there are so many people that believe that we are, that have, again, majority of them, I expect they haven't seen it with their own physical eyes, and I know that lots of people are saying, yeah, but I've got a really good source, they've seen it, I know. I'm not denying that there are people coming to this continent, to this island, because, well, for many reasons. Why? I don't want to get into being sidetracked back talking about that, but we are feeding the negative, and we're allowing ourselves to be divided. So as long as there is division, then we can't come together as a consciousness. We can't love each other, love thyself, love thy neighbour, if we have division. So on this island, illegal immigration is the way that they are trying to control the population. So they are keeping people angry. A classic is football. Why do you think there is, well, sport in general, but a lot of you watch people and how passionate they are about football. So it'll keep people divided. This is the way that's why it's there on the earth plane. Anything that is going to divide us means that those that control us will keep us apart, because we will not see or believe that we are part of the same consciousness. So the more you go within yourself and you do the spiritual work, the more that you understand your shadow side, the more that you observe all of your human behavioural patterns. I think spite is one that I've talked about in other videos. So that's one for me that I know that I can quite easily, just like that, be spiteful, because I've had someone in my life for a very long time that's spiteful to everybody, and especially to me. And it taught me that that's how I thought we're supposed to be. But every time I'd be spiteful, then I'd feel guilty for being spiteful. But it's breaking the pattern because from a young age, I believed that was the right thing. So it's that knowing right from wrong. Again, it's going back to that. Because it's a behavioural pattern, we still know that it's wrong when we do it, but because we've done it for so long, we're not always observing or seeing that we're doing it. So that's why going within and finding the things that we need to change to break those habits. This is where self-forgiveness comes in, or forgiveness of others. It's multifaceted, but do the spiritual work. That's what I want to say to you. Do the spiritual work, because the more that you go within, the more that you go in that stillness to find that actually, I suppose what it is that the 1% are looking for. The 1% believe that if they are, I suppose, keeping all of the secrets. I really see that what is happening is that the 1% is trying to keep from us all of the things that they've observed, all of the things that they know. And if you do your spiritual work and you go within and you open your own eyes, you open your own third eye, you will see what it is that they're wanting to keep hidden from you. And that I think that it is to do with everlasting, being everlasting, whether that means living on the earth plane or living on other planets. But that would be another video to sort of talk about that. But that's what I believe that it is. So when you go within, you'll find all of that, and you will actually see that it's not about keeping the physical alive, everlasting. Just read about Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is really interesting. Mesopotamia, I think, was when I was reading a little bit about the Sumerians that I thought, but I believe that everlasting, I think Gilgamesh, was he a demigod or something like that? I think he might have been a demigod. But when you see that actually this is what's behind it all, is that they're looking for the secrets. How can we be everlasting? But I just smile, because I think, well, we're all everlasting. We have a different vessel, but we never leave the consciousness. So each time we are reborn, we have a different vessel that we're reborn into. But the whole point is to be everlasting with our spirituality. It's not about the physical vessel. Well, that's the way that I see it anyway. So by doing the spiritual work and beginning to realize that actually you are part of one and the same, and taking responsibility rather than seeing it, they've done this, they've done that. Every time you give it anger, you are doing and feeding what they are doing. So I've realized this. I've realized it on a conscious level, but actually practicing it and getting the subconscious to stop the patterns is what I'm still working on. So I do know that I am the rock. I do know that I am the ocean. I do know that I am that tree. I do know that we are all part of what is, part of the consciousness of the whole. So then when you begin to look at things of where to think, well, if I am that rock, if I am that tree, if I am the ocean, does that mean I am that murderer? I am that paedophile? And that is hard to sit with when you think, well, I know that, yes, I've given in to temptation, but there is a degree of what I know is right or wrong. But we need to give those who don't have that understanding on the deeper level of that they give in to the temptation of maybe nobody's taught them what is right from wrong. And that makes me feel really sad for them to think that, no, I was very lucky. My mother taught me right from wrong. And I know as a mother, I'd done a lot of things that it's just like, wow, I wish I'd been more spiritually awake when I was bringing my children up. But you can't go back and change what is, and that is their journey. But I do know that as a mother, I've taught my children right from wrong. And I know that I'm teaching my grandchildren right from wrong. And that's what comes right down to the end of it, that we know what is right and what is wrong. So love thy neighbour, love thyself, love thy neighbour, teach thyself, teach thy neighbour. That is the way to stop being angry at the world, is to go within and take full responsibility for yourself. If there are any questions that you I hope I've not lost you. I hope it didn't come across as sounding preachy, because I'm not preaching at anybody. You know, none of us are as pure as the driven snow, otherwise we wouldn't be incarnate. You know, I think we'd be where the Buddha and the Christ energy resides. So go within. Do the spiritual work. Don't kid yourself. No spiritual bypassing. Catch yourself out when you think, I'm doing that. So often I'll talk to people and I'll say, well, you need to do, oh yeah, I've tried that. No, you haven't done it for long enough, because if you think, okay, it hasn't worked, you haven't done it for long enough. Don't spiritual bypass. Take full responsibility for going within, finding that stillness, and knowing that you are part of the whole, part of the all. And the whole point of being here is to learn to stand fully in love every moment that you are breathing. Difficult. And I know that I don't know how many years away I am from creating that, but I know that I'm putting all of my energy into that every day. If you've got any questions, please do fire them across to me. If there are any topics that you think you would love for me to talk about, to do a video on, then please do drop me a message. I love just to, any questions that you have, please do email me across or text me. Like my channel. Every like that I get, it gets more visibility, because I don't understand the SEOs behind it all. So I know that it's not getting the views at the moment that it could do, but I'm putting my faith in spirit to know that if this video has been helpful to you, please like it, please subscribe to it, please share it with your friends, and do fire me your questions. Like I said, thanks for listening. Love and light.